Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about something that I know a lot of you have been following very closely over the last few months.
Yes, absolutely. This has been a huge story.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Hailey Welch.
Hailey Welch, the Tuah girl.
That's right, the Hawk Tuah girl, and we all know the story. She goes from this, viral TikTok sensation
Yeah.
to launching her own crypto coin,
Yeah.
and then of course it all comes crashing down around her.
Yeah, it's really a wild story.
It is, and it's one that I think has a lot of layers to it, and so we're going to try to unpack all of those layers today.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from this one, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. So why don't we start at the beginning? Remind everybody, for those maybe who haven't been following along as closely, what was the original, Hawk Tuah video?
Okay, so the Tuah video, she's this young woman. She's in her car. She films herself and says Tuah. And it's kind of like this,
It's like this weird...
yeah, a weird, call and response, yeah, it's a catchphrase. It's this thing that kind of catches on, and then people start repeating it, and before you know
It's
it,
everywhere.
it's everywhere.
It was one of those things where you saw it and you were like,
Yeah.
what is this? But then you kind of can't stop thinking about it.
That's the power of virality, right?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, that's how things go viral. It's like a little earworm. It gets in your head, and then you can't get it out.
So, okay, so she has this viral moment, uh, but she doesn't just, disappear, which a lot of people do, right?
Oh, no.
They have the viral moment, and then they kind of...
Fade away.
they fade away.
Yeah,
She's very smart about it. She starts building a brand.
absolutely. She's savvy. She starts selling merch. There's Talk Tuah, her podcast.
Right.
She does appearances with some really big names like Mark Cuban, Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really capitalizing on this momentum.
And then comes the crypto. So tell us about the Hawk coin
Yeah, so she launches this Hack coin, and
with a lot of fanfare.
huge fanfare, tons of hype. People are really excited about it. And at its peak, this coin is valued at 392 million pounds,
Which is
$500 million.
crazy.
Just an incredible amount of money.
Yeah.
And then the crash.
Yeah. So what happened? What?
So the value plummets.
Yeah.
It drops by 95% almost overnight.
Oh, my gosh.
And investors are left holding the bag, many of whom were probably her fans.
Right. And so a lot of people are using the term pump and dump. Some are even saying rug pull.
Mhm.
Can you kind of explain what those terms mean?
Sure. So in the simplest terms, a pump and dump is when a group, usually insiders, will hype up a cryptocurrency, artificially inflating the price.
Right.
Then they sell off all their holdings at the peak, leaving everyone else with a worthless asset.
So it's basically like a coordinated effort to
Yeah.
kind of scam people.
It's a way to take advantage of people who may not fully understand how these markets work.
Right.
And a rug pull is even worse. It's when the developers just disappear completely with all the funds.
Right.
So, in both cases, investors are left with nothing.
Okay. So is that what people are accusing Hailey and her team of doing?
Well, it's starting to look that way. Blockchain analysis has shown that 90% of the Hawk tokens were controlled by insiders.
That doesn't sound good.
No, not at all. It doesn't really align with the whole idea of a decentralized, community-driven token, does it?
So is she just denying all of this?
Well, she's denying any wrongdoing. Claims it was all because of these automated trading bots they call snipers.
Snipers, okay.
But then you have community members, they start digging through her social media and find notes that suggest her team was selling large quantities of Hawk at the peak.
And that's not a good look.
Not a good look at all.
It makes it look really bad.
Yeah.
Especially because, I imagine a lot of these people who were investing in this coin were probably fans of hers and twinked at her.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes this whole situation so heartbreaking. One investor even said, quote, "You took my life savings." I mean, imagine the impact that kind of loss can have on someone.
Yeah, that's devastating.
It is. It really is.
So where does this leave Hailey legally? I mean, could she actually face charges?
It's definitely a possibility. We've seen this happen before with other celebrities who have promoted crypto projects without proper disclosure. Remember what happened with Kim Kardashian and that Ethereum X promotion?
Yeah.
She ended up paying a hefty fine, over $1 million, for not disclosing she was paid to endorse it.
Right.
And legal experts are saying Hailey could be facing something similar, maybe even worse.
Wow.
SEC investigations, civil lawsuits, even criminal charges are all possibilities.
So one former prosecutor actually said, quote, "The optics are obviously terrible and have the hallmarks of a rug pull."
Oof. Yeah, not looking good. And I think this whole situation has really put a spotlight on celebrity-endorsed crypto projects in general, it seems like the authorities are starting to crack down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked about all this stuff, but the question is, where is she?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Right.
Her last public appearance was, ironically enough, on TMZ,
Oh, really?
promoting Hawk Hay just hours before everything went down.
Wow. And then poof,
Gone.
she just disappeared.
Vanished.
So what do you think happened? Where is she? What's she doing?
Well, there are a few theories floating around.
Go on.
Some people think she's hiding out, laying low until things cool down, maybe back home in Tennessee, or, maybe she's living it up in some luxurious hideaway. Who knows?
Right. I mean, if you were facing potential lawsuits and public scrutiny, disappearing wouldn't be the worst idea.
Exactly.
So is that it? Is that the only theory?
No, there are others. Some believe she's busy lawyering up, preparing for a legal battle. Which, if she is facing serious charges,
Yeah.
makes sense.
You got to
Get a good legal team.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And then there are those who think she's just completely overwhelmed by the backlash.
And is trying to avoid the online hate mob. Imagine going from internet darling to public enemy #1 practically overnight.
Yeah,
That's gotta be tough.
that's got to be really tough, yeah. So she's gone completely silent, but we do have a statement from her company,
Oh, yes. Over here, the platform she used for the Sir Jacques launch,
right?
they've actually released a statement, and it's a doozy.
Okay.
They're essentially shifting all the blame onto Alex Larson Schultz,
The Hollywood.
Doc Hollywood.
Yeah. Howie Mandel's son-in-law.
Wait a minute, what does he have to do with all this?
Well, apparently a lot. Over here is claiming he was the one controlling all the token decisions.
Okay.
The fees, the whole shebang.
So they're saying he's the mastermind behind this whole alleged scheme.
Basically, yeah, they're trying to make him the fall guy.
So they're saying Hailey had no idea what was going on.
They're not explicitly saying that, but they're certainly trying to distance themselves from her
Right.
and put the spotlight squarely on Schultz. Okay, interesting. And what about Hailey? Has she said anything at all since that TMZ appearance?
Nope, not a peep.
Really?
And here's another interesting twist. Investors have filed a lawsuit,
Yeah.
but they're not actually targeting Hailey directly. They're going after, over here, the Tool of the Moon Foundation
Right.
and Doc Hollywood, but not Hailey.
So they're leaving her out of it.
Yeah.
Wow. So this whole thing is just a tangled web of accusations and finger pointing.
It really is, and it's only going to get more complicated from here.
I think we need to take a quick break to process all of this.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot to unpack, and we've got a lot more to talk about. So we'll be right back to dive even deeper into Hailey's story and what all of this means for the world of influencer-driven crypto. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. And, before all this happened with the Heike coin, Hailey really seemed to have this, squeaky clean image,
Yeah, America's sweetheart kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now.
Now, it's a very different story.
It is. And it's, this whole controversy has really tarnished her reputation. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion,
Yeah.
One minute she's hanging out with celebrities, launching her own coin, and then the next she's facing potential legal charges and this, furious fan base.
Yeah, it's a classic rise and fall story, and it's all playing out
On the internet.
on the very public stage of the internet. Exactly. And the internet, we all know, it never forgets.
No, that does not. Especially not when there are screenshots and blockchain records involved.
Oh, yeah, that stuff is forever.
It's forever. So I've actually been looking through some of the comments from her fans, and it's really interesting to see the range of reactions.
Yeah, what are people saying?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, some people are just straight up calling her a scammer, saying she betrayed their trust.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame them? Imagine putting your faith and your money into someone you admire, only to have it all disappear like that.
Right. And then there are others who seem more heartbroken than angry. They're just in disbelief.
Like, I can't believe this is happening, or I used to love her content, but now I just feel betrayed.
Yeah, that sense of betrayal,
Yeah.
that's really tough, when you feel like someone you looked up to has let you down.
Yeah, and then you also have people who are defending her, saying she was just naive, maybe even manipulated by others.
Right. So it's kind of like a Rorschach test, isn't it?
It is. What you see in this whole situation might just depend on your own experience, your own level of trust
Absolutely.
in influencers, your own relationship with money and risk. It's fascinating.
It really is.
So do you think she can actually bounce back from this? Like, can she salvage her career at this point?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, the internet can be a brutal place, and reputations, once they're damaged,
Hard to rebuild.
they're so hard to rebuild. So what would she even need to do to regain public trust at this point?
Well, first and foremost, she needs to break her silence.
Yeah.
I mean, the longer she stays hidden, the more guilty she looks. Right. But it's not just about saying something, it's about what she says.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She needs to acknowledge the hurt and the anger that people are feeling, express genuine remorse for what happened.
Do you think an apology would be enough?
I mean, it's a good start,
Okay.
but it can't just be words. Actions speak louder.
Right. So what kind of actions are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, she could be more transparent about what happened, maybe share her side of the story,
Okay.
explain her involvement or lack thereof in this whole scheme.
I mean, that's risky though, right?
It is, it's a gamble, but it could also be a way to regain some credibility.
Okay. And what about the people who lost money? Is there anything she can do for them?
That's a really tough question. Legally, she might not be obligated to do anything, especially if she wasn't directly named in the lawsuit.
Right.
But morally, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a way for her to offer some kind of support
Okay.
to those who are financially impacted, even if it's just a symbolic gesture.
Right. Like some show of good faith.
Exactly.
Yeah. It would at least show that she's taking responsibility, trying to make things right.
Right, but it's hard to say what she'll actually do. It's easy to get caught up in the drama of this whole situation.
Yeah.
The accusations, the legal battles, the disappearing act.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the bigger picture here. This is about more than just Hailey Welch.
Right. Right.
It's about this whole influencer-driven crypto space and the risks involved.
It's a cautionary tale,
Mm.
not just for her, but for anybody who's thinking about investing in something based solely on a celebrity endorsement.
Exactly. And it raises some really important questions about the ethical responsibilities of influencers.
So let's talk about that. What can people do to protect themselves?
Oh, that's so important. First and foremost, do your own research.
Yeah.
Don't just blindly trust what some influencer is telling you.
Right, right.
Look into the project, the team behind it, the technology. Really understand what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, but you have to remember that these influencers, they're not financial advisors.
Right. They're entertainers. They're storytellers.
Right.
And sometimes they're salespeople. So just like with any other product or service, you need to be a savvy consumer.
Okay, so how can people be more savvy when it comes to this whole influencer or crypto thing?
Well, for starters, be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true,
Yeah.
because it probably is.
Right.
And pay attention to the language that's being used, Is it all hype and buzzwords, or is there substance behind it?
Right. And also, I would imagine looking at the influencer themselves, right? Like, are they being transparent?
Yes.
Are they upfront about getting paid to promote this? Do they even seem like they know what they're talking about?
Yeah, it's about looking beyond the glitz and the glamour and really digging into the details.
Exactly. And if you're not sure about something, ask questions, do your own research, maybe even consult with a financial advisor. It's always okay to say no,
Yeah.
even if your favorite influencer is promoting it. Right. Your money, your decision.
Exactly.
So Hailey's got some big decisions to make, that's for sure.
She does.
Is she going to fade into the background? Is she going to try to rebuild her career? Like, what does she do?
I mean, if she wants to rebuild her career, she really needs to take ownership of this situation, show that she's learned from it.
But how? I mean, what could she actually do?
Well, one option, and this is a bold one,
Okay.
is to actually use her platform
Okay.
to educate others about the risks of investing in crypto, especially young people who might be particularly vulnerable to this kind of influencer marketing.
So almost turn this negative experience into a positive force for change.
Exactly. And it could be a way for her to show that she actually cares about her followers.
Yeah.
That she's not just about promoting the next big thing.
It would definitely be a risky move,
Oh, yeah.
but it could also be a really powerful way to demonstrate her sincerity and maybe even start to regain some of that lost trust.
It all comes down to whether she's willing to put in the work, be honest, accountable, and maybe even a little vulnerable.
Yeah, this whole deep dive has really given us a lot to think about,
It has.
both in terms of Hailey's individual journey
Yeah.
and the bigger questions surrounding influencer ethics and the future of crypto.
Yeah, and this story is far from over.
Yeah.
There are still so many unanswered questions. Where is Hailey? What will she do next? What will happen with the lawsuit? And how will this all impact the influencer-driven crypto space in the long run?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly.
But one thing is for sure, we'll be here to keep you informed every step of the way.
Absolutely.
We're back and ready for the final part of our Hailey Welch deep dive. And you know what I've been thinking about?
What's that?
This whole situation feels like a wake-up call.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for everybody, not just for Hailey, but for the entire, influencer crypto world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this could be a turning point in how this whole space is regulated?
Well, I think it's definitely possible, right? I mean, regulators are already starting to take notice.
Yeah.
Especially after that whole Kim Kardashian thing, the Ethereum Max promotion. She got hit with that $1 million fine.
Right, she did.
For not disclosing that she was paid to endorse it.
Yeah, and that seemed like a pretty clear message from the SEC.
Oh, yeah, they're not messing around.
They're not messing around.
No.
So do you think with Hailey's case and all the allegations surrounding it, could we see even stricter regulations?
Well, I think it's highly likely. I mean, imagine a world where influencers have to be super transparent about how much they're getting paid to promote a coin.
Right.
No more hiding behind those vague sponsored content labels.
Yeah, it would force them to be more accountable.
Exactly. And what if there were guidelines on how they talk about these investments?
Oh.
No more making wild promises or using all this hype to manipulate people, especially folks who are new to all of this.
Yeah, it would make the whole space a lot safer.
A lot safer, definitely.
For everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially, people who might be more easily swayed by celebrity endorsements.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's really the goal here, right?
Yeah.
Protecting investors, making sure that this whole ecosystem operates with more integrity.
Yeah, so some people are saying that Hailey was just naive, like she got caught up in something bigger than herself.
Yeah.
But regardless of her intentions, do you think there should be consequences for influencers who promote projects that end up harming people financially?
That's a tough one, Legally, it gets really tricky, but I do think there needs to be a serious conversation about the level of responsibility that influencers should bear when they're promoting financial products.
Right, because it's almost like we need a whole new set of rules for this new world.
We do.
Where online fame and digital money are kind of colliding.
Yeah, we're in uncharted territory here, and we're all figuring it out as we go.
Right.
But I think this Hailey Welch case has really exposed some vulnerabilities in the system.
Yeah, it's forcing us to ask some tough questions.
It is.
It's like a real-life case study and the power and the peril of influencer marketing, especially when you add crypto to the mix.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that we all need to be more critical consumers of information, especially online.
Don't just blindly trust what you see on social media.
Yeah, even if it's coming from someone you admire.
Yeah, do your research, ask questions.
Question everything.
And never invest more than you can afford to lose.
That's good advice for navigating the digital world in general, wouldn't you say?
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I can't help but wonder, what is Hailey's next move?
Yeah, where does she go from here?
Right, is she going to try to rebuild her career? Is she going to face legal consequences? What happens next?
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But regardless of what happens to Hailey, I think her story has taught us all some really valuable lessons, about online fame, the allure and the danger of crypto, and the importance of being informed and skeptical.
I think you nailed it. It's been a wild ride unpacking this whole saga. From viral TikTok star to the center of a crypto controversy, Hailey's story is a reminder that in the digital age, things can change really fast.
Things can change in the blink of an eye.
That's right. And the consequences can be huge. So to all our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What do you think Hailey should do next? What lessons have you learned from this whole Tuah saga?
Yeah, head over to our website, leave a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
We are always up for a good discussion.
Always.
And remember, the best way to navigate this crazy, complex world we live in is to stay informed, think critically, and never stop asking questions.
That's what the deep dive is all about.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.